Veterans, you get to that CMP exam and that examiner says, the VA didn't send any information. I can't see any of your information. Don't be discouraged. In today's video, I'm going to give you some questions to answer to turn that 5-minute CMP exam into a VA claim nugget power hour. Make sure you stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Make sure you go ahead and click that like, subscribe, and notification button. Today's video. You get to that CMP exam and that examiner says, I'm sorry, but the VA didn't send any information. I can't see anything. And now you're freaking out and you don't know what to do. Today's video, I'm going to give you some information to turn that 5-minute video into a VA claim nugget power hour. But before I do that, a word from one of our sponsors. Veterans, if you're filing a VA disability claim for a mental health condition, you know the process can be frustrating and overwhelming. Having the right evidence can make all the difference. That's where Tampa Counseling and Wellness comes in. They specialize in providing mental health DBQs and Nexus Statements, helping veterans establish direct service connection for mental health conditions or secondary service connection due to issues like tinnitus, migraines, or back problems. The team at Tampa Counseling and Wellness is passionate about supporting those who serve. They understand the VA process and are committed to helping you get the benefits you've earned. If you need expert support for your mental health claim, don't go at it alone. Contact Tampa Counseling and Wellness today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. What questions that you need to be asking when that examiner tells you they don't have any information? Let's go ahead. Question number one. As you can see here in question number one, I state, can you see any of my documents or medical records? This is after the examiner tells you they can't see anything. You just want to confirm, okay? Now, you may say, Dwayne, well, they already told me they can't. Why should I be asking this question? It establishes a baseline of what examiner can and cannot access and creates documentation of the problem. Good idea, take your legal pad. Start taking notes, okay? Because you may need this down the road, especially if you need to do a high-level review / appeal, okay? Question number two, can you see the medical examination request to confirm what conditions you are examining me for today? It ensures the examiner knows the scope of the exam and which conditions to evaluate. Because when they tell you, hey, I can't see anything, and I did a video on this, it's called 2507 medical requests. It's probably about 2 or 3 years old. I don't know if the VA continues to call it a 2507 medical request or just a simple CMP exam medical request or medical request, all right? What this is, when you submit a claim to VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration, and the VSR or RVSR says, you know what, this veteran meets the criteria for a CMP exam, they have to put it in the VBMS. So if you're claiming, let's say PTSD due to combat, you were in Saudi Arabia, they go in and put that medical request in. That's how these third-party examiners know which exams to do. So if they don't have any information or they didn't receive any information, the question is, how do they know what exams to do? Okay, so you want to ask them, hey, can you see the medical examination request to confirm which conditions, okay? Now, you may want to take that a step further, okay, and ask, if you're there for multiple exams, what exams are you doing today, all right? Number three, since you can't see my records, but can see the medical request. If they say yes, can we follow the DBQ, disability benefit questionnaire, for those specific conditions? Now, I've talked about this in some of the previous town halls I did, some of the training that I did. And if I was going through this claims process again, once I've confirmed before even showing up to that C&P exams, what exams am I having? I'm downloading those DBQs. Okay? And while I'm at that exam, I'm gonna follow along with that examiner. Okay? So if it's something they didn't ask, I know because I have those DBQs. So it keeps the exam focused and standardized even without full record access. Again, we're anticipating, yes, they can see that medical request, all right? Number 4, can you document in the evidence review and remarks sections of the DBQ that you could not access my records at the time of this examination? Because eventually they're going to have to get access to those records. And we know in the C&P exam / DBQ, there is evidence section review and remark section. Okay, so you're just asking them, say, hey, at the time the veteran showed up, I did inform them that they didn't have access to your records. And you're going to take a note of that as well. Okay, but more so, it creates an official record of the limitation protecting the veteran from negative interferences, okay? Question number 5. Are you able to contact VA technical support right now to resolve this records access issue, okay? It shows due diligence in trying to fix the problem before proceeding with limited exam. Now, that's just a request. They don't have to do that. But the examiner may be really nice and try, okay? So it's not, anything against the veteran. You just want to know. They may do it, okay? Question number 6. If we proceed without my records, will you note that your medical opinion is limited due to the lack of access to my complete medical history? Now, they may say, well, I'm not going to render opinion until I get access to those records, all right? But this prevents the examiner from making definitive negative conclusions without full information. So it goes back to question number 4 about evidence reviewed, okay? Because they have to put in there, they reviewed something. If they say, hey, at the time of this C&P exam, the records were not available, and they still give an opinion, that is an insufficient C&P exam. How can you give a medical opinion and you didn't review nothing? Okay? So again, veterans, that was a nugget. I bet you didn't catch it. That's why it's important to be educated on this process and have a copy of your entire claims file. Okay? When I was going through this process, I would get a copy of my C&P exam, and I'm like, wait a minute. That examiner didn't ask me this. That examiner didn't ask me that. Okay? So it was crazy as to how they could do it. A bad C&P examiner, they'll do it. But a good one, I don't believe they'll do it. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Question number 7. Can you document what specific records or information you would need to provide a more complete medical opinion? It identifies gaps for potential reexamination or supplemental review, okay? Again, if you have to do a high-level review, these are things that you can bring up, okay? And I'm going to give you some information towards the end of this video on what you can do after you go through this whole C&P exam, okay? Let's keep going. Question number 8. Will you recommend a follow-up examination once my records become available to you? It establishes need for proper exam with complete information. Also, something you could do, and this is going to be a little bit tricky, you can say, hey, since you don't have access, I'm willing to go ahead and reschedule this C&P exam to give you time to get access. Now, The upside to this is the examiner says, yes, I can do that. And you go ahead and reschedule before you leave that day. Don't let them tell you, hey, we'll call you. Nope. I want to reschedule it before I leave, okay? That way you have a confirmed date. The downside to that, they could tell you, yeah, we can reschedule you and actually reschedule it and then turn around and cancel it. And they'll say, oh, I was able to see the records down the road, but you didn't go through and ask these questions that we're talking about today, okay? So just keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Question number 9. Can you still perform the physical examination of the DBQ and document your objective findings? Okay. Why ask this? Salvages what can be accomplished even without records review. Okay. Question number 10. Are you required to complete this examination today? Or can it be rescheduled when you have full access to the record? Just talked about that, okay? It explores an option to reschedule for a more complete and fair examination, okay? Again, that is going to be tricky, okay? So you're gonna have to make the call on that. If it was me, I would try to salvage it without rescheduling. Going through, okay, if they could see that medical request, not a problem. I got some DBQs. Let's go ahead and answer these questions, because when you do get access, you should already have in your notes what we talked about, okay? Now, here's a bonus. So for those of you that decided to stick around and get this education, okay, this is a bonus for you. If that happens, meaning the examiner says they don't have access, when you go through these questions and you make these notes, and when you get in your car, go ahead and turn it on, cut the AC on if you're in a hot climate. Call 800-827-1000 and inform them the examiner stated they could not view my records at this particular time and date of the exam, and I requested another exam when they can review my records. You want that on record. The reason why is because if they turn around and complete that exam and don't review anything, you'll know it. You know why? Because you showed up with your DBQ. You asked them about what exams that was on that medical request, okay? This is how you hold them accountable. Okay, I know that may seem like a lot of questions. You may be like, Dwayne, I may piss them off. Me personally, I wouldn't care. I care about my claim, making sure they are following their training in the VA's regulation, okay? If they don't, now you have grounds to appeal. Make sure you go ahead and submit that FOIA request to VBA to get a copy of your claims folder. I have videos explaining how do you get it faster once you submit that document. Go to the exam, make sure you have that pen and legal pad with these questions already lined out, because you don't know if they're able to see those records or not. Also, download those DBQs. Don't go to anybody's website to download these DBQs. Only go to va.gov and download them. Make sure you do your homework, review them, look at the diagnostic code criteria, highlight, oh, here's the diagnostic code criteria in the DBQ for the percentage I feel I meet. So that way, if they don't have access to your file, when you get to those questions for that 50% for whatever condition you're claiming, you can make sure that the doctor takes those notes, take notes of your answers for those questions, okay? It's simple. But I may do a follow-up training to go in a little bit more in depth and to take some of your questions. So with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veteran. Thank you.